days are cooler, nights are warmer, and I put the blame on you. Time moves slow, but my heart beats faster. When these eyes are looking right at you, you give me something to believe in, just what I needed. You're the closest.
There's a lot happening in the world. We're going to just jump in. And let me just start with a little story. It's the story of the scorpion and the frog. So a scorpion wants to cross a river but can't swim. So it asks the frog to carry it across. The frog hesitates, of course, because, a scorpion might sting it. But the scorpion promises not to do that, pointing out that it would drown if it killed the frog in the middle of the river. And the frog considers the argument because it's sensible and agrees to transport the scorpion because it needs to get to the other side, maybe November, maybe to win. Midway through the river crossing, the scorpion stings the frog anyway, dooming both of them. And the dying frog asks the scorpion, "Why did you sting me?" To which the scorpion replies, "I'm sorry, but I couldn't resist the urge. It's my character." This is a story of today's NABJ convening. I think there's another story, maybe a cautionary tale about inviting the devil into your home. Take a listen.
People did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? What? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working, or something
Mr.
was
President,
wrong.
I would love if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why you
I have
believe that
answered the
black voters should
question.
trust you with another 4
I have
years.
been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work, in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
The scorpion said, "It's my character." Rachel Scott, shout out to you. ABC correspondent who led off asking a question. We're not friends or pals. Her job is to ask questions. She doesn't have to give you platitudes or welcome you in a nice way, but I'm going to welcome my first guest in because I feel like she's chomping at the bit. I feel like she wants to get in. It's double dutch. I see you, sis. I see you. She has been on the receiving end of a President Trump's barrage and negativity because she has been standing on business for the better part of 2 decades in them streets reporting for us. Yes, you have been. Let me welcome the great April Ryan to the Karen Hunter Show. Hey, April Ryan.
Hello to the great Karen Hunter. How are you?
I'm sober.
I'm distraught.
I'm actually not, because this is what happens. Let me just say, this is, I've been saying this for the last maybe 8 years on these airwaves. We are living in history right now. And what's happening, Cat Williams talked about it. This is a reckoning. There's so many institutions and organizations that have Black in their name and have not done too much to propel Blackness. I said yesterday, for 35 years ago, I was in a newsroom at the New York Daily News. 4% of us were Black in the newsroom. I got in that newsroom because of a lawsuit primarily. So I'm standing on affirmative action and all of the ways in which we force people to be in these spaces. Today, 4% of the newsroom is Black. We make up 15% of the population, 4%. These organizations primarily have these conferences and these things, conventions for money that they take from people. And then they don't necessarily hold these people accountable. You know what I'm saying? So you invite Donald, you invite the devil into your home. You get what you get. So April Ryan, listening to this, because I know you were hot like fish grease yesterday. Yesterday, I said, my sister's out here. Woo! So tell me when you first heard that he was going to be there.
You said I was mad yesterday? Oh my God.
Yesterday, day before yesterday. Yes. Tell me what you were thinking.
The whole thing, because as I am talking to you, I'm trying to pull up the bylaws, the establishing pillars of the NABJ, and it's about advocacy. One of them is advocacy for the journalists who are the membership. I didn't see advocacy today. I didn't see advocacy in the decision to bring Donald Trump there. Yes, Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, respect him as the former president, and the seat that he carried and the office. He is a former president. However, if you are an advocacy group for Black journalists and you have been attacked by the former president, not one, not two, not three, not four, but a lot of people, and then his minions, like Tucker Carlson, going after other people too. You know, I can think about people like Joy Reid. Hello? Sonny Hostin, under that Trump umbrella from Tucker Carlson. I can think about Trump himself, Jamel Hill, Abby Phillip, Yamiche Alcindor, myself.
Yes.
And I'm going to say this. If you're an advocacy group and in 2018, you wrote how you are appalled about Donald Trump and his behavior towards us, and it's not just the behavior, but once he puts your name in his mouth, as those poll workers in Georgia talked about, you have targets on your back, move your home, hide, figure out where to send your children that's friendly. If people find out that's your child, your life changes. So Karen Hunter, as a member of this advocacy group who said that they were appalled about Donald Trump, are you still appalled? And then he did exactly what he did to us, to Rachel Scott. It was like trauma revisited again. And I was like, oh my God, insulted her integrity, blamed her for the sound system not working and the latency, etc. I'm like, what?
No, but you know that was black.
That was her black job.
No, but that was also April Black Code. They were late. You know, like that wasn't
so
a shot
at CPT time.
That wasn't a shot at her. That was a shot at us.
Whatever. My thing is, this is not a news organization. One, It is an advocacy organization that we pay our membership to. Don Lemon, Yamiche Alcindor, Abby Phillip, April Ryan, the Umbrella. And Donna Brazile. She got death threats too and bombs. Under the umbrella of Trump with Tucker Carlson, myself as well, Alicia Garza, Sonny Hostin, Joy Reid, Tiffany Cross. They want us to shine for them, but when it comes to stand by us, what do you do?
So let's go back. So what happened? April Ryan, by the way, you can read her journey covering the White House with Trump as president, Under Fire, reporting from the front lines of the Trump White House. That book, you will get all chapter and verse of what happened. Then we want to get to the new book as well, because it feels like you were prophetic. But when you found
Black
out,
women will save the world. And
yes, we're gonna get to that, April Ryan.
Yes.
For this to happen, because there was so much misinformation, I was shocked. I know nonprofits, if you're doing some political thing, you have to invite both sides. I know we have that issue here sometimes, but this is beyond both sides. And, I have several clips that I want to play. As a matter of fact, let me play this from Amara Jones, who in 2022 had an NABJ Journalist of Distinction Award. She accepted that award. She is the CEO of Trans Media. Play that clip, Smiz.
As journalists, we often tend to think that we've been taught, actually, that the way that we deal with the truth is to tell two sides of one story and to walk away. But we know sometimes the truth doesn't have a side. Sometimes the truth has 9 sides. Sometimes the truth takes no side. And our job is to be bold enough and brave enough to go against our training oftentimes, to tell the truth that we know, and to trust and believe that the audiences that we serve are smart enough, have the courage enough to judge whether or not in the end we are right or wrong.
Yeah. Was journalism at play here with the NABJ's decision?
You talk about the leadership?
Yeah. Was this journalism to have this convening? Was this servicing, as you said, as an advocacy group, servicing the greater
They did
good?
not service us, but I'm going to say this. Maybe some folks didn't understand. At first, some people, like even Jamel, said, oh, well, we should hear from another president. But when you started finding out the more of the story, they were like, wait a minute, this has become a mess. I want to believe that that's what it was, but still, you have to remember, you just called this man appalling because he had gone after much of your membership who are on the national level and who question presidents or on national TV and talk about him. And then you want to shift and change. It doesn't look good. I don't know what their plan was, but right now they have to deal with this because he came into our house, made a mockery of us and left, talked about us in our face, and we invited him in.
Yes. I'm going to offer a different perspective, right? Because I feel all right, teaching journalism, actually, one of my former students was on the stage, so that was wild to watch. Teaching journalism for 25, 30 years, what I tell my students is your job is to be fair, not necessarily unbiased, because we all come into everything as our full self. So bring your full self. And having, hearing from both sides, we have had 30 plus years of hearing from Donald J. Trump. We have had 4 years under a Donald J. Trump leadership as the president of the United States. There is no value, in my opinion, and also journalistically, to bring him to an event like this, to ask him questions when there's already been, he's not an unknown entity. It's not like J.D. Vance, who you may not know.
Right. And he even tried to explain J.D. Vance, the childless cat lady. Yeah. I was like, He says, well, he's a good man and he believes in family, but I don't think he meant it. I'm like, anyway, but it was insulting. But here's the thing. What did Maya Angelou say? When somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time.
Yes.
I've believed it. I've witnessed it face to face.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. If you don't
not unknown.
Fine. But here's the thing. He has said, my black people, my black people over here. It was almost like my blacks. Remember, he was in a place and it was dark, but I can see my black people. Why? Because of teeth and eyes. I mean, I was so insulted by that. And just the black jobs. What's the black job? Now he said everybody. I'm glad he said that. but I'm insulted. I have a Black job. I'm a White House correspondent. I'm an author. I'm a mother. Hey, I've got a great Black job and hope to keep it for a little while. When someone speaks the way they speak, he still does not want to apologize for asking for the death penalty for the Central Park Five after taking out those massive ads. What does he think about?
Was he questioned about that today? Because I didn't.
He didn't get a question. He got a question about policing and the poor young lady who was killed by the police officer. He says, I thought it was bad, but he never said which side he was on. But he doesn't want accountability for police. And this police officer that killed this young lady, Massey, he was in several police departments. And she said, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And, and he still, and he talks about Jesus, but yet he did not err on her side. I feel it. I need to breathe.
Yeah, I know you do. All right. So last thing, you wrote a book about Black women saving us in 2022. Did you know that this was going to happen, April Ryan? That we
in my mind, I wanted to believe that it was going to happen. No, but let me say this, Karen, for real. I have always just marveled at Black women and how we rise and we have a stride even in the midst of the hardest times. We still have a smile on our face and can look fire in a moment as we're lifting up communities, as we're lifting up our own home. And what's crazy is, Karen, I talked with the publisher, HarperCollins, and my dear friend who's an editor there, Patrick Henry Bass, and he said to me, April, I don't think this is the time for it. I was so hurt. I'm like, what? And then they circled back and said, I think this is the time. And then we didn't know it. In the midst of me writing, George Floyd unfortunately died. And then because of the George Floyd death and all the international attention, Joe Biden said, this is a moment for a Black woman. This is a moment for a Black woman. And that's when I said, the Lord is doing something here. And it's come back. Look who is now saving the democracy, or look who the Democrats are trying to look to save the democracy. And I can only help but think about what Joe Biden said when he addressed the American public from the Resolute desk in the Oval Office the other night. He said, I'm stepping down to hand the mantle to the next generation. But he also, wanting to put a fine exclamation point on why he was doing it to save the democracy, he brought up Ben Franklin and his speech at the Continental Congress when they were working on the Declaration of Independence. He said that Benjamin Franklin said, save the republic if you can. This is his way with this Black woman, Southeast Asian Black woman, to save the republic if he can. That's the piece that people aren't talking about. She is going to be, that's a heavy weight to bear. She is holding up the democracy, because if Donald Trump becomes president, he's let us know he will be I can't even say the word now, an authoritarian.
Don't say it. Don't put it out there.
Well, I mean, look.
Okay, girl.
My days are cooler, nights are warmer, and I put the blame on you. Time moves slow, but my heart beats faster. When these eyes are looking right at you, you give me something to believe in, just what I needed. You're the closest.